The more you start to pay attention to your beautiful, magnificent mind, the more you'll start to notice that most of what you're going to find in there is going to be super duper negative. It's going to be a whole bunch of negative habits and patterns and programs, just ways of thinking that aren't very helpful to you. Ways of thinking that have just been kind of like habitually passed down from generation to generation to generation until it's finally reached you. The one who's noticing it, the one who's aware of it, the one who's starting to question it, But it's also just ways of thinking that you've had to teach yourself in order to try and keep yourself safe. It's kind of like a biological thing, right? There are going to be things that you're going to want to do. But those negative patterns and negative thinking habits are going to try and get in the way of you doing what you want to do. So one thing that's so important that I think a lot of people miss is just understanding how necessary it is for you to go easy on yourself when things don't turn out the way you want, when you don't behave or act or think in the way that you want. So we're not like justifying and we're not necessarily excusing, but we are still being compassionate and forgiving, because a lot of what the mind is so used to is all around self-sabotage. And so if you've been used to thinking so negatively for so long and for always keeping yourself in a place where you are safe and small, and when suffering is what you've been used to, your mind is going to do whatever it can to try and keep you in suffering. And so even when you want to start new habits and you've got new goals or ambitions, your mind will try and stop you because it's not what your mind is used to. And so it thinks that you're in danger because it's like, whoa, what are you doing? This is not what we do. We don't thrive. No, like we stay down. Let's say the mind wins in this scenario and it stops you from doing what you want to do. So a mistake that so many people make is they start to feel shame towards themselves. They start to beat themselves up. And then instead of understanding what the mind is doing and being compassionate with themselves, what they do then is they almost start to like punish themselves without even realizing this is what they're doing, by double downing on new goals and things. So let's say you didn't go through with something that you wanted to do because the negative thinking got in the way. So you didn't do it, and then instead of being forgiving and compassionate with yourself and seeing where your mind is coming from, instead you were like, okay, that means tomorrow you're going to work 3 times as hard, or you're going to have to do like a punishment workout, or I don't know, just like something to try and make up for the fact that like your mind stopped you from doing what you wanted to do. What is actually even more effective in those situations, if you don't want to keep being in that situation over and over, is to stop for a second and really feel into that part of you that didn't want you to go through with that thing, the part of your mind that thought it was unsafe and tried to keep you small. And see if you can muster up a bit of compassion and love for that feeling, and know that like that feeling isn't trying to make your life hard. It's trying in its eyes to make your life easier. It's not going about it in the way that you want. I'm not saying it's correct, but that's what it's trying to do. So instead, you would just acknowledge that that part of your mind, that pattern, that program has been created out of fear. It's got a fear energy to it, so it's scared, and it probably just needs some loving. Honestly, it probably just needs you, your awareness, your consciousness, to notice that part of you and to just let it know like, okay, I know that you're scared, but everything is all good. I promise you I'm okay. And I love you. So thank you for trying to keep me safe. Just 5 minutes or 2 minutes of transferring that feeling of love and compassion towards that feeling is way more effective than punishing yourself with new tasks and things that are like trying to make up for the fact that you feel guilt and shame. Essentially, that's what that is. You're trying to cover up that shame, whereas like that shame doesn't need to be there in the first place. You can substitute that shame with love and compassion. If you believe in like a higher power of some kind, how would that higher power respond to you not going through with what you wanted because your negative thinking got in the way? It wouldn't want you to feel shame. In a loving, compassionate way, it would look at you and it would know that you can do better. It knows that you actually can follow through with what you want. It knows you can succeed, but it sees that you didn't this time because of one reason or another. It sees that you didn't, and it forgives that part, it understands that part, but still knows that you can do better next time. You know, it's different to shame. It's different to then feeling like you need to punish yourself. So just keep that in mind for next time. The negative mind tries to get in the way because there's gonna be so many situations in life where you're gonna want to do something, but the negative thinking is gonna win. If we're being realistic, it will, because it's however many years and generations and decades and oh my gosh, like who knows how long these patterns and programs have been running within you, within your family, within your society, within your culture, you know? So if you slip up sometimes, there's no need for shame. Love and compassion will heal that part a lot faster anyway, you know? Shame and then double downing with other tasks and things will just kind of like shove that part further in the background to keep saying that it's wrong. And the more we keep rejecting certain parts of us and habits and things, then the more it's not going to work with us. Instead, it's going to always work against us, if that makes sense.